Hi. Try to drag that intro out for as long as possible, but I can no longer. So now we are here. Hello, hello. I am definitely ready for the stream. Hi, chat. Hello. Welcome to another Fiendish update stream. Whitey says the cat was nuked. That it's like some YouTube meme video that I just cut down shorter to use for the creative block. Yeah, I guess so. Or was the nuke the mind blowness in the cat's head? I don't know. I thought that's what I meant. Anyhow. Hey Gronda, hello, what's up? Thank you for being here. Let me adjust my chair. Whoa, I got one of these standing desks that I keep the desk at a standing height and my chair is really high. So my desk is at a standing height, even though I never actually stand at my desk. I might actually use this as a standing desk, maybe like for 2 minutes a week, but still, it's like a super high desk. So my chair is super high and I'm like dangling off the ground. It's crazy. But yeah, let me get a little comfortable here. Okay, cool. Right. So I thought today what we're gonna do is I wanted to show you guys the new preview for Fiendish 3. I've been mentioning I wanted to have a like 15-page or so preview of the chapter ready to go around launch or sometime after. I mean, we're 2 weeks in. But yes, I finally have the preview pages ready. So I thought we'd take a look at that before Creative Block. And then I'll raid into Creative Block, which is on Jake's channel today. So you guys will just stick around and then you'll just be redirected to Creative Block after the stream ends. And we can also talk about some other exciting news, like the Kickstarter sign up is now live. So if you are interested in backing on Kickstarter instead of Indiegogo, you can go sign up there now. Or if you want to support both campaigns, that would be great as well. But I figured if anyone has questions about the Kickstarter and what will be on it, I can answer your questions here as well. Because I'm still working on the campaign, but I have a rough idea of what it's going to be, right? So I figured I sent out an email blast earlier today to let everybody know about the preview and the Kickstarter. It's really annoying because I think my recent emails have been going to spam for a ton of people. But yeah, anyhow, if you didn't get it, look in your promotions folder or spam. I apologize. I need to fix my email service. But right, so I figured instead of like going on a long spiel in an email that had a million other things in it, I would answer some questions here if you guys wanted to ask about the Kickstarter and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's what our plan is today. Fiendish preview, and I'm gonna shout out the Kickstarter. I guess I will pull it up now just so everyone can see. Where's my private window that I was sharing this on? Let's go to this view. Share screen. Share. Oh, is this it? Where am I? What's going on? There we go. Yay. Okay. Make this narrow. Technology. There we go. Boom. Well, that's too small. Where's that view I set up? There we go. Cool. Yeah, I like that. I think that's all right. There we go. Let's pull this up here. There, and there's the Kickstarter sign up. Dun dun dun. And I have the links for that pinned in the chat, and it should also be in the description. I hope it's in the description. If it's not, we're in trouble. But yeah, I intended to put it in the description. So Kickstarter, the first ever Kickstarter for Fiendish will be launching soon-ish. I don't know when. Here's the situation. I'm waiting for some guest art before launching the Kickstarter. That's what I'm waiting on. And everything else is just stuff that is already ready and stuff that exists from previous Fiendish campaigns. So the goal of the Kickstarter is to try and reach a new audience, because I think most people who have read Fiendish, who have backed Fiendish campaigns, obviously, I've been on Indiegogo for all the campaigns, and there was one campaign on Fund My Comic. But this Kickstarter will be geared more towards people that are brand new readers. But of course, if you prefer Kickstarter, because I've heard from some backers and customers that they were having trouble backing on Indiegogo, so this will be available for you. And that's why I phrased it as like, well, Fiendish chapters 1 to 3, but it mirrors, well, it doesn't mirror, but it's basically the same campaign overall globally as the Indiegogo campaign, because the stretch goals will be universal, but I will offer different tiers because I'll have more catch-up options on here. Like, I think I'll have the standees on the Kickstarter for people that are brand new to Fiendish and didn't get a chance to buy the standees from like Fiendish 1 or Fiendish 2, and so on and so forth. But the chapter 3 stuff will be all the same. That's the plan right now. So here's the sign up. Like that. I got a little character sheets. Just a little quick introduction. I do like this preview, pre-launch sign up page on Kickstarter, because on Indiegogo it's rather bare bones. So if anybody from Indiegogo is watching, I would suggest it would be really cool if your pre-launch page could be expanded like this, because you can only post like 4 or 5 small images on the Indiegogo pre-launch pages. I like how Kickstarter is doing it. It's kind of nice. But yeah, let's see. Down goes Solo. Hello. Down Solo says, tease the guest artist. AC finally doing a cover. No, but that would be great. I would love to have AC doing more stuff, but she is busy because she has like a real job and stuff, and she works for Dark Horse, so she's mostly busy with that. And she's also developing her own story. Let me adjust my mic a little bit. She's adjusting. She's developing her own comic. So when she does have free time, she focuses on that. So it's like all I can manage to get her to just do some trading cards. Very lucky that I can peel her away for some trading cards at this point. So I'm just grateful for that. But yeah, AC is great. That's my trading card artist, by the way. And yeah, maybe someday. Let's see. Postback charges are annoying. I think they charge you. My understanding is they do charge you. Oh no, it has to be postback. Yeah, it has to be after when the campaign closes, because you can adjust your purchase on or your backing on Kickstarter, right? I'm not really sure how it goes. I've backed a bunch of Kickstarter campaigns, but I'm still not really clear how it goes. All I know is I get these survey emails for your address, and I'm not really looking forward to that. I feel like that's on my end as a creator. That's just a bit of a pain. But a bunch of people I know have been doing Kickstarters. There's Carnal the Barbarian is on there, and Hotel Story is on there, and obviously Pear did his original art campaign on there as well, and it went really well, and they seem to like the platform. So fun fact, you guys, the reason I went to Indiegogo when I first started doing crowdfunding stuff in like 2019, which was my regrowth art book, I first went to Indiegogo because I was living in Taiwan at the time, and I couldn't use Kickstarter. I couldn't set my location. Like the Kickstarter website, this is what I recall, wouldn't let me set my location in Taiwan. So that's why I ended up using Indiegogo. But and then all this other stuff, like, oh, I heard it's really annoying to have to like send out backer emails. But also Indiegogo had in demand, but now Kickstarter has a extended funding period where you can keep on funding between the end of your campaign and fulfillment. So it's essentially their version of in demand, and I think that's great. So I think the website has changed, and I no longer have the problem of being located in a country where apparently Kickstarter doesn't recognize. So I'm going to try it out. I don't see why not. I like money. So let's see. Come on, guys. Taiwan is awesome. Yeah, that's right. Taiwan is awesome. I like your logo, by the way. It's clippy. Is that part of the trend of people changing their profiles to clippy? I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Very nice. And welcome to the chat, Komanga. I don't think I've seen you around before. If I had, I apologize, but thank you for being here. Nice, haven't seen her post anything about her story for a while. Well, she just doesn't post in general. She's like not online. It's very shocking for a millennial. but she's been working on stuff, and as far as I know, she's doing well. She's turned in some more trading card art, so that I haven't released yet. But yeah, she's been working on that, and things are going well. Da, da, da. I can't even spell Taiwan. Well, you just did. You just spelled Taiwan perfectly. So there. Let's see. Hey, Hyper Wizard. Jake is in the chat. I thought it only charged tax after the campaign on Kickstarter when it turns into a shop. I am not sure. This will be a wild experiment. I should just ask Pear because he's done completed Kickstarter campaigns, right? Maybe that would be a smart idea. Actually, ask people that have done it before. But yeah, or I can ask Isaac Bell as well. Shout out to him, by the way. He's awesome. He's done Shrine entirely on Kickstarter. So yeah, I should ask him. And he's done multiple books on there. If he likes the platform, then I'm sure there's something to it. Yeah, go check out Shrine as well. JW Learning is here. Hello, I am well. Yes, indeed. Welcome. Yes, they charge shipping and taxes during ship out. Your stuff will be held hostage. Well, that's annoying. Shipping and taxes. So do they set the taxes? I'm gonna look into this. I'm just gonna ask Pear what the percentage is that he got charged. Cause like so I have to wait for everyone to get their addresses and payments in before I'm just gonna set the fulfillment further out for the Kickstarter then, just to mitigate any disasters. Thanks for the warning. It is a bigger platform, and I think there's more organic audience growth, which is what I want. So hey, I don't see any reason to not at least try it out. And well, if it's a disaster, we'll see. And I would have learned my lesson, but I don't know. Hopefully not. Thank you, Alex, for the link. Much appreciated. And I have a pinned link to the sign up and also the preview page. Let's see. Maromi asked original art there too. I'm not sure. I think I might keep the original art to the Indiegogo. But don't hold me to that. I'm not sure. Just because I think it would be annoying to people who bought original art on Indiegogo, and then it's like, how do I structure the order by which people can pick the original art? If right now, as of this moment, what I'm thinking is on the Kickstarter, if I have original art, I might put up some covers. I still haven't sold the Japanese edition covers. So I have that, and I do have the black and white, the dark cover for Fiendish 3 that I do plan on selling. I don't think I'll sell the other covers, but yeah, I might put those on the Kickstarters. The Kickstarters are the covers, and the Indiegogos are the interiors. That's what I'm thinking right now. I don't know. I don't know if anyone has any objections, let me know. Today we get a new wife for talking about JRPG. I saw you and Alex talking about JRPGs on Twitter, and getting deep into it. I'm glad. Apparently, Fiendish, to some people, Fiendish reads like an old JRPG. I have heard this before. It's funny because I didn't grow up with JRPGs. I don't really play video games. Like I've talked about how Pathfinder is somewhat influential on my world building, but not really. I made it very clear that Fiendish is its own world. It's not supposed to feel like the Pathfinder world or a Pathfinder campaign. But yeah, people have mentioned several times that Fiendish feels like an old JRPG. Now, that's cool because apparently that stuff is good. I do know Legend of Lotus War. It's like the only JRPG-ish thing I know. So yeah, I'm okay with that. I take that as high praise. Yes. Let's see. Did I miss anyone else? Thank you for the link there. Much appreciated. Do I have a scooter? I did. I owned a scooter when I lived in Taiwan. That's when I filmed that video. It's a really old video, but I keep playing it just because I don't know. I've gotten used to the intro. It's my thing. It's my scooter video. It was actually an electric scooter. It's called a Gogoro. It's a Gogoro. It's like a electric scooter brand in Taiwan. It's super popular, and it was really cute. You have these little like battery banks that you can just stop by a 7-Eleven and switch out the battery. It was wonderful. I love the scooter. But then I moved to America, and I was gonna just keep it in Taiwan. But then COVID hit, and I got stuck in America for 3 years because of COVID. because of travel restrictions were so freaking strict on Taiwan's end, I just decided I'm not gonna fucking deal with it. For like 3 years, either you're not allowed in or you had to quarantine for like 2 years. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? I just want to go home. So I just decided not to go home. And the scooter was just sitting there. So after a while, I'm like, I'm just gonna sell it to my aunt because there are all these problems with electric scooters. Like if you don't ride them, they deteriorate, and I was really worried about that. So my parents just sold it to somebody, and I was like, oh, okay. It was a really cute scooter, but I don't know if I move back and just buy another one, right? I got my coffee. Pardon me. Let me as I recharge on my skull mug full of coffee here. I think that's all the questions here. Let's see. Oh, right. This was a good pun or a good riddle. Why did the Whittler get kicked out of art class? I being late myself for my stream. So because he was a little bit late. That wasn't the answer. I knew that was wrong, but I didn't know what the answer was. Yeah, the answer is he kept carving out too much time for himself. Very good, very good. Komanga says, Rainier, where are you? I'm in Atlanta right now. Yeah, I live in Atlanta right now. But as some of you guys know, I travel a lot. I'm all over the place. So right now, I am currently based in Atlanta for now. might not be permanent. I don't know. I do. Yeah, I am fairly settled here. I do have a cute little house here, but let's see. Why didn't Kickstarter didn't recognize your country? I mean, that's not shocking, is it? I don't think it was like a specifically against Taiwan thing. I think it's just they had a limited list of countries that you could run campaigns from. So it wasn't specifically we don't like Taiwan. I think it's like even if it was, I don't know, you were in Iceland, you probably wouldn't have been able to, I don't know. Nobody has a problem with Iceland, right? But just an example. Like it's a bit of an obscure country, isn't it? All people know about it is computer chips. And back in 2019, nobody even knew that. So I'm sure it was just that. Just that. Let's see. Will the Kickstarter campaign have different exclusive perks than the Indiegogo campaign or the same? So what I'm thinking right now is the Give Me Everything perk will be the same. I might call it something else, but it'll be the same and with the same exclusive cover. And for the Kickstarter, I might offer a tier that's even higher than that includes Fiendish 1, 2, and 2.5. So that would be effectively a Give Me Everything, but for brand new customers that don't have the previous books. You see what I mean? But as far as Fiendish 3 goes, I don't think I will have exclusive perks on Kickstarter. I'll be offering older items from Fiendish 1, 2, and 2.5 for people that want to get caught up. That's what I'm thinking of right now. Because it's like, well, the Indiegogo campaign launched first, and the thing is, with the Give Me Everything tier, the intention was that tier has everything that's new in Fiendish 3. So at least for Fiendish 3, if there's a new print item, then if you back to Give Me Everything, you're gonna get it. Like even if I do have a Kickstarter say print or something or a sticker on Kickstarter that's on Kickstarter, not on Indiegogo, I'll still include the sticker or the print on for the Indiegogo Give Me Everything tiers, right? So that's what I'm thinking right now. Right now I'm thinking it'll pretty much be the same campaign with some older stuff from previous Fiendish books. And that's the plan right now. I am waiting on the guest art for the perk exclusive cover because I want to launch it at the same time as that reveal. I think that would be pretty cool. So that's the plan. Any unique items for the Kickstarter? No, right now I might yeah, it might be stupid of me to not offer exclusives for the Kickstarter, right? But the thing is, I don't want to piss off any Go-Go backers. It's like, oh, you backed it first, but now Kickstarter has an exclusive. Because Indiegogo had an exclusive, and it had the freaky card, the sign-up exclusive. I would offer a sign-up exclusive on Kickstarter, but the thing with Kickstarter is you actually can't get the email list of people who signed up for the campaign. It's just a notification. You don't sign up for email notifications. Kickstarter will notify you when the campaign launches. So I can't do any special rewards for people that sign up on Kickstarter. So unfortunately, there's that. Mono HCC, hello. Hello and good evening. Yes, yes. Demina, is there going to be any original art on a Kickstarter campaign? Will it be the same as the ones on Indiegogo campaign? It won't be the same ones. I might offer the covers. I think I answered that. Yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan right now. Think of the Kickstarter as it's essentially a Fiendish 3 campaign, but I'm presenting it as more accessible for brand new customers who don't have the previous books as well. That's how I'm going to structure it. Kevin Ryan says, best of luck, Randy. I can even spell for Formosa. Yes, you can spell Formosa. That is the old name for Taiwan. Yeah, wonderful. And that's very, very cool, very worldly and knowledgeable. It means beautiful in Portuguese. Ilha Formosa, beautiful island. Fun fact. Old name for Taiwan. Well, Red said, read that Fiendish. All right, let's get started. Let's get started. I'll try to star any questions, and I'll circle around to them. Let's see. I'll start that, and I'll circle back around. JW says, just purchase the catch-up pack. Yes, thank you so much, JW. Thank you very much for your support. And thank you, Down Go Solo, for the link. Yes, I have stuff on the Fiendish website as well. I have merch on there. So if you want any extra knickknacks, then you can go there and go to the shop and buy like pins and standees and stuff, because I offer that on the shop and not so much on the current campaign. Billy Powermax is here. Hail, what's up? Hey. Lodos, and yes, Lodos is wonderful. Oh yeah, and Down Go Solo's campaign. Everyone go check out Wrecked as well. Someone can post a link in chat. That would be fantastic. All right, scrolling down. Chat's going too fast. I can't catch up. Aviator says hello. What's up? All right, let me pull up the preview for Fiendish. I don't even know what that was. How do I? Why is it being weird? Okay, let me go to this page. There we go. Oh, it's so tiny. Oh shit, I need to change the framing of it. So this is on Global Comics. Single page, stack layout, image margin, fit to height. There we go. That's why it was being weird. And it was like zooming way the fuck in. All right, there. Cool. So, this is Fiendish Chapter 3 Ravages on Global Comics. The link is in the description and in the chat. But yes, I have a 15-page free preview of the book. It's completely done. I was up all night for like 2 days translating the Nanarsa, because the second page has like 50 lines in Nanarsa. Not that many, but you get my point. And it was actually such a pain to translate, because there was a bunch of words I didn't have for the language yet, and then I had to develop some vocabulary for what the characters were saying. Casimir and Ragnar were talking to each other in Nanarsa, and I was like, okay, this is actually going to take me hours of work, and then I have to actually letter the characters one by one, like drag and position each character and each letter, because I don't have a font for Nanarsa yet. I need to make a font, but it's actually not that simple, because the alphabet doesn't correspond to the English alphabet, and there's a bunch of other stuff I have to set up. So I don't have a freaking font to just type Nanarsa yet. Anyways, I'm just complaining, and it's all worth it. It's all worth it. But I'm just bitching. Don't mind me. But I hope everyone realizes what goes behind all these moon runes in my comic. It's not that simple. It's not that simple. Okay. Let's see. Hey, yes, thank you for the links. Someone say Iceland. Yes. Well, Red says he's an expert on Iceland. Really? I went to Iceland once to do research on Fiendish. I was very dedicated. I wanted to actually, obviously Fiendish is influenced by a bunch of Old Norse culture. It's not the only influence. There's a bunch of Slavic mythology and Slavic culture. The language is kind of like a mix between a bunch of things: Old Norse, Old Slavic, and then a bunch of my own made up stuff. But yeah, I did go to Iceland. It is such a magical place. It feels like the land of elves. It's insane. It's this island It's a volcanic island that has glaciers. It is the most beautiful thing ever. I highly recommend. It's so lovely. It's so expensive though. It was so much money. Everything, because everything has to be shipped in, so it's really expensive to even just like take a 1 week trip there. But yeah, I recommend going there. Let's see. All right, let me star a few options so I don't miss anything. Thank you for the links. Okay. All right. Indiegogo app. I don't know if Indiegogo has an app. I thought they probably would, but I don't have it installed. I don't like having too many apps on my phone. I have more than enough as it is. So yeah. Okay. Make it a Japanese font. I should. No, I should. That's what I have to do. Because I need to figure out what program will let me do that. Because with the characters, it works the same way as Japanese. You type a set of sounds, and then those sounds get condensed into one character. In Anarsa, you have both phonetic and logographic writing. I mean, it could be Chinese as well, because Chinese also works that way. But Japanese also works, that is like a mix. Chinese is only logographs. Anyways, that's a great idea. I don't know how to do that, but I'll figure it out. There's an app called Font Self that helps create fonts. I will write that down because I have Font Forge, and I was basically like, oh, I have to rebuild all these characters that I have as in vector basically, and then I don't know how to integrate the logographs. Anyways, Font Self. All right, I'll write that down and I'll take a look at it. Thank you very much. All right, if I miss your chat, I apologize. I'm going to start actually reading this now. Dun dun dun. Let me squeeze this a little bit. So here you go. This is the preview for Fiendish Chapter 3. And oh girl. There. Should I read it as a spread or as a one page? You can, this is the cool thing about global comics. You can switch it around. So I can also switch it to a double page. Let's do the double page because the comic is meant to be read this way. And I'll squeeze myself over a little bit because then you can't. I'm squished. There. Cool. Okay, that's better. Now you can actually see the comic pages. Wonderful. All right. All right, so here's a credit page, and last time on Fiendish, I always have that ready to go because every comic could be somebody's first comic, so I have that. And Nina is also in there. Look, it's Nina. Don't just read it to the voices too. I can't do voices. Oh my god, you especially don't want me to do Casimir. I just do a voice like this. I'm a grumpy old hunter. Well, he's not old, but yeah. You don't want me to do the voices. It's gonna be horrible. Right, so chapter 3, Ravages, and the first page leads in like this. Chapter 2 ended off with everybody leaving this bandit fight scene after basically everybody, the whole group of bandits that they encountered was completely fucking BTFO'd. And if you look closely, Ragnar set a bunch of the corpses on fire as they were leaving the bandit fight. So if you look closely on the top of the tall panel, there's like fire. It's sunset as well, but I told Nick like maybe you can put in some fire glow to show that they're leaving the bandit fight. So basically just leaving this pile of burning corpses. Peaceful, lovely scene walking away from burning corpses. That's the opening to this book. But yeah, it picks up right after Fiendish 2, just directly after it. And as they're nearing Salfran, you see all these rune stones, and what I'm thinking they are is some of them are warding stones or ward trees, and as they walk, you'll see there's trees with sigils on them, and that's because they're heading to Salfran, the shaman's hermitage. That's where Ragna's from. So she's also heading home after taking a trip elsewhere. It's revealed in the dialogue, but the whole area of Falfrin is warded off. And a little explainer. I try to not over explain this in the comic, but the way warding runes work are their mind runes, and they work by redirecting people's attention. So if you ward somebody away from, you can have targeted warding runes, and that means the rune will say this or this type of person or this or this type of creature, their attention, their consciousness will be redirected away from the warded subject. And the whole area of Thalfrin is surrounded by warding runes on stones and trees, so that creates this barrier where what happens is people who aren't permitted to enter Thalfrin, they just get confused, or they just instinctively feel like turning around, and they can't find their way, and they are redirected away from that area unknowingly. And fun fact, it's also revealed in the story that that's what happened to Dorbo. Because remember, in chapter 2, there was a plot point or a dialogue point where Iskall was telling Yomi what happened to Casimir, and he said nobody's been able to find Dorvo. And I'm surprised I haven't got more questions about that, but oh, who knows, whatever. It's theorized. Friggy mentions in a few pages that she thinks there must have been a ward put around Dorvo. But fun fact, that's kind of insane because Thalfrin is a shaman's hermitage, but it's only 1 or 2 houses. It's essentially a family homestead that is protected. So that's a lot of warding runes, but it's been built up over many years by many shamans, and it's maintained by very high-level Ispaliad shamans. Dorvo is a whole large town, and the whole thing was warded off for 9 years, so nobody's been able to find it. And so that's we'll see how that came about, and that's another little tidbit, little mystery in the story. Not a chance LBW for a block. Oh shit! Okay, it's only 15 pages, okay? It's only 15 pages. So works like Obfuscate in Vampire. I have not played that, but it's an attention redirecting rune. That's how warding runes work. And mind runes are consciousness manipulation. So sleep runes are mind runes, warding runes are mind runes. You can't get as detailed as mind control, but you can control just generally, does somebody pay attention, and like what they pay attention to and stuff like that. So that's kind of how it works. Word tree. Well, Wordruna, the band that made the song that I'm using for the Fiendish trailer, by the way, it means warding rune. Yeah, coincidence, but I do like, it's such an awesome old name. The forest you can never pass through. Yes. This could use a narrated caption for location, a quick explanation of the forest on worded wood on page 1 for clarity. Sure, yeah, I can do that, but I feel like I try to not be too handholdy. There's a lot of things in the comic that I try to let the world building happen naturally, because I trust that my readers are intelligent and they can put things together on their own, right? All right, so next page is this spread, and I wanted this nice big spread where everybody could just sink into the world of Fiendish. I want you to feel like we're back in the world. We're here in the forest. Nick did a great job on the colors. Like, look how vibrant and magical this forest looks. So I just wanted a nice peaceful page where you can just ground yourself in the world again. And is there a way to zoom in on this? Because the dialogue, well, I can read it. It might be a little difficult for you to read, so I apologize. But yeah, so Casimir and Ragna are speaking to each other in Nanarsa. And Nanarsa, for those of you who are new, is the clerical language of Arvos. And Arvos is the continent that a story takes place in. So think of Nanarsa as church Latin or whatever, ecclesiastical Latin. Is that the form of Latin that the church used? So Latin is technically a dead language, but the church still used it, and is different than what regular people speak in daily life, but it's sort of this official religious language. And that's what Nanarsa is, except Nanarsa is also an ethnic language. So Ispoliad, these green and blue haired people, it's a race that I made up for the story. That's what Ragna is. She's an Ispoliad. That's their mother tongue because their ancestors are the ones that established the shamanic order and the government and political system on Arvos. So their ancestors' language became the clerical language of the continent. And when the text is in English, the characters are speaking the common speech of the land. So they would be speaking the common speech for Valden. That's like the area they're in the Viskel Mountains. Anyways, I don't get too into that. But then people who are shamans or Ispoliad or people who are highly educated would speak Nanarsa. And Casimir speaks it just because he grew up around a lot of shamans. And I have this thing in my head where I think he picks up languages really well. So he's really dumb in other aspects. It's revealed later he's really, really bad at math, but he does pick up languages really well. So I thought that would be kind of a funny tidbit. So he does speak Nanarsa, and he speaks to Ragnar and Nanarsa often when he doesn't want the kids in the group to be listening in. So anyways, he's just telling her, I see that Malkenka hasn't changed you. And he tells that to Ragna. And Ragna says, change me, they frustrated me. They rejected my thesis paper. That was 3 whole years of work. And I'm trying to establish in the dialogue that, well, they haven't seen each other for a while. It's been a long time. You saw in chapter 2, there was a flashback to when they were teenagers, but they probably haven't seen each other much since after that, because Ragna has left to go to Malkenka, which is this shamanic kind of university knowledge center far away. You see it on the map. Go look on the map and you'll find Malkenka. But she's been studying there for like 3 years, and so they haven't really met since then. And she kind of chose her studies over a home life. It's a thing that'll come into the story later. But yeah, but her thesis paper was rejected. I have this whole system of shaman levels, and I won't get into it right now because it'll be another half hour of me explaining obscure Nanarsa words. But the shamanic system has different levels of shamans, and at every level you have to write a thesis paper to test into that new shamanic level. So she's trying to level up in the shamanic system, and her goal is to become an arch shaman, and she would like to become the youngest arch shaman in history. And because she's really good at what she does, she's very smart, and she's like, I'm going to dedicate my entire life being a giant nerd, and I need to write an amazing thesis paper and make some amazing discovery so I can become the youngest arch shaman. There's a bunch of family reasons for why she wants this so bad. So then in panel 2, the next panel, she just told Casimir that her thesis paper got rejected by Malkenka, and then she said, I'm just visiting Gran for a bit before giving it another shot. Figured it would clear my head some. So she's been away, and she's back here to visit her grandma, who's freaky, as you saw in Fiendish 2.5. And then Casimir says, Friggy approves of your path now? Ooh, maybe she doesn't approve of what Ragna's doing. And Ragna says, no, but I don't need her approval. Only the most determined to become arch shamans. Right, so we'll see a little bit more about that later. Friggy has her thoughts about Malkenka and how that system operates. How much should I spoil? Is it a big spoiler? It's not really a big spoiler. Basically, Friggy doesn't really approve, and she thinks it's stupid, and is kind of just chasing, kissing ass to power-hungry people. That's what she thinks Malkenka is. And so her and Ragna have this conflict over the validity of wanting this formal shamanic position, right? Yeah. Back to the panel. In the background, as Ragna's telling Casimir about wanting to become an arch shaman, Yomi and Iskul start wandering off because of the wording runes. Their attention is being redirected, and they start walking off, and Casimir grabs them and is like, I told you to not get distracted, and you better follow me or you'll die. Because if they're not looking at him and going exactly where he's going, they're going to get distracted because of the warding runes. And at the end of the page, there's this little shrine door. It's like my version of a Torii gate. I don't know. I've seen some Slavic things that are like that. So it's like, sure, that's like a Torii gate, but Slavic version. I'll put that in my comic. And they're approaching Thalfrin. And then they're in Thalfrin. Dun, dun, dun. Hello, Edwin. What's up, yo? Self-propagating rune trees. Very good. A collage of art from previous issues on the inside cover would be a fun way to remind readers of what already happened. That's a good idea. I did have a little bit of it in the, hold on, this see at the very bottom, but the thing is, it was bigger at first. Oh wait, let me take the comment off. But I'm starting to run out of space for the character profiles because I want to make it look nice too. So I'm kind of, because I put Nina in there, there's no I could do a second page that's just like collages of art. That would be kind of cool, wouldn't it? I do agree with that. Yeah. I'm thinking in like another couple of books, I'm gonna need multiple pages for the character blurbs because that's how I do the last time on Fiendish. So I'll have a summary, but then multiple pages of character blurbs. So it'll just be like 3 pages of this in a few books. All right. Anyways, so the group arrives at Thalfrin. You did see a little bit of Thalfrin in Fiendish 2.5, but this is the first really proper introduction to it. And there's this river. The way the island is structured is it's well the way the building is built is it's on an island that's next to a cliff, and there's this little river, 2 waterfalls, and that go around and loop around the building. So it's kind of completely surrounded by 2 waterfalls and like a river, and so it's kind of defended by water, and Ragna raises these stones in the water so they can walk across. And as she's doing this, Cosmere is just thinking to herself, oh, her runes have gotten stronger since I last saw her. Yeah, 3 years at Melkenka is no joke. And they go into Thalfrin, and there's Freaky. Let's see if I can, maybe I should try to zoom in. Auto fit to width and single page there, just so we can zoom in a little bit and see the page. I wish I could toggle between different modes, but yeah. I want to show you guys the interior shot because this is the first time you really see the inside of Thalfrin. I put a lot of thought into the art and all the little trinkets and stuff in the inside of the building. So I hope that's a little background work that everyone appreciates. But yeah, as they go into Thalfrin, Freaky's like, "Wow, it's been a while since you've been here, Casimir." And Kaz's like, hey, I need to ask you something," without like saying hi completely unceremoniously. And Ragnar's like, "You have no manners." And Kaz's like, no, this is really urgent. And he pulls out this box, and then we cut to later on as they're sitting around the fire, and we see that in the box is the demon claw from Fiendish 1 that remember Casimir cut off this demon claw, and at the last panel of Fiendish 1, he was like holding the claw on the tip of his dagger. So he kept that claw, he put it in this metal box, and because the demon's flesh burns stuff, the box is kind of being deteriorated, but metal would corrode less quickly than like wood. So he's been using this thick metal box to transport the demon claw, and they're sitting around a fire. And obviously, I'm not going to go through a bunch of exposition going over stuff that we already know. Casimir has just been catching Friggy and Ragna up on what happened. We saw this demon in Alstad, killed it. It is the same type of creature as what I saw in Dorvo, the same type of weird fucking monsters that obliterated my family. Also, it burned everybody but me. So he's obviously told them all of this, and Freaky's trying to figure out, well, what the fuck is that type of creature? That's weird. So the idea is that because even though Freaky does know about what happened in Dorvo, because she's known Casimir since he escaped Dorvo, no one has seen these demons before. It's not like these are just known creatures. We don't really know what type of creature they are. It's still a bit of a mystery at this point. And because this is the first time someone has encountered them again, they've resurfaced. Like Kaz is assuming, well, this is a creature that escaped from Dorvo because it's the only place that they've been seen. And he cut off a claw to bring it to Friggy so she could see a part of it and try to deduce what exactly is this thing. And she kind of just holds her hand over it, and she's like, Okay, this is umbral energy, and then we're going to get into an explanation of what that means. But before that, I like this. I think this is a good being more zoomed in. We can actually you can see the art and the dialogue a little more, so that's fine. Coffee is a mind rune affecting concentration and focus. Well, I am a fan of this rune. Yes. 15 pages at 10 minutes apiece. I mean, yeah. Okay, I'll try to get through this shit. Oh my gosh. Hmm. Eraser green and blue haired people. Cool. Yeah, I figured instead of I didn't want to do elves because the whole point was Ispoliad had to be humans. They have the same magic system as humans. So they're not elves. They only live like a tiny bit longer than humans. And in my world, I was at least mildly scientific with how I constructed the species. There's different species, not just different races. So for example, humans have different races, like different skin tones and so just like in the real world. But also, I thought it would be cool if in this world there were humans that weren't just Homo sapiens. So there's a type of human called Burman, and they're essentially Neanderthals, but probably even more primitive Neanderthals. They have these like big ridged faces and stuff, and they're super primitive and dumb, and they have like really basic magic, the same magic system as regular humans, but very basic and very weak. So those are like less developed humans. They're like a related human species. And then the Ispoliad are like the opposite end of that. They're humans, but they're more magically powerful and they live longer and they're more advanced and usually have higher like intelligence scores and stuff. So I was figured, well, how would I create my own human species that really look different, or human race that look different than everybody else? I was like, I'm just going to give them like Christmas colors, right? So if they have like pinkish skin and like dark pinkish skin, and they look like Ragna. Ragna's an Ispoliad. And what's interesting is Ispoliads are actually a hybrid race. They're a mix between humans and Ispolin. Ispolin are the full higher human race, but they've disappeared. And the Ispoliad are the kind of the in-between descendants that have stayed living with regular humans. So I wanted to create like some variability in the world building, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna make my own like human race that doesn't look like anything that really exists. But if it's an actual different species, they can interbreed. For example, Yomi is a dev, and dev and humans can't interbreed. So I'm being very specific about that kind of stuff. Right. Okay. Continuing. Tell me about these art shamans. Arch shamans. like like master shamans. That's what it is. Oh, it's getting really hot. Let me turn my little fan on. Presco's Fabius says my Kickstarter is going to make money. I hope so. That would be great. That would be great. I sure hope so. Nina, yeah. Did you like Nina rolling around in the background? So the fun fact is, because the story gets like so serious sometimes, and like the characters take themselves so seriously, and then there's some really dark stuff happening in the story. Nina's there for like cute factor half the time. She really is there just to make things fuzzy and fun and to make Casimir less of an asshole. Because sometimes I'm like, this is a lot of tension. I need something cute and fluffy to break the tension. So yeah, that's why I'm Nina rolling around in the background being cute a lot. I like her home design. Thank you. Yeah, I had this kind of central hearth design. I have this drawing, this whole layout drawing of Falfrin. Actually, it's in my sketchbook, so I can just pull it up. Where you can see through. I mapped out all the floors, so if I drew Falfrin, it would be like architecturally accurate. Of course, I don't want to fuck around with that. Here it is. Here's my design page. Here's my design page for. Let me actually full screen myself. Boop. There you go. See. So this is the exterior. Oh, here you go. Yeah, that's it. So 2 waterfalls, and then there's this river, and then there's probably like a little stream here where the river comes out. But it's like a big loop-de-loop with like a stream, and Falfrin is built on this island in the middle. And here's the first floor, And it was actually really hard to draw this perspective because the walls aren't straight. You can see that the walls bow outwards, and then the ceiling is slanted just because the way the floors are constructed. They don't correspond very clearly to the exterior of the house. It was fucking hard to like design it. Here's the second floor. The second floor is like this big main room that's basically a guest room with these guest beds, these little cots, and you have curtains in front of them, or you can kind of draw a curtain over the cots, and that's for like visitors and stuff. But then this room here in the front and the back would be for family members. And I think that room in the back, that's Frigi's room. It's like a big space behind here. But yeah, that when you see Casimir in Thalfren in chapter 2, when he woke up in Thalfren, he was right here. So that's the fireplace on the second floor, and he was right here. And in chapter 3, he's here again. So that's where all the guests stay when they're in Thalfren. And then the third floor is like another room, and then there's an attic as well. That's kind of this like star observatory. We're gonna go there in a later on in the book as well. Thought that was like a cool design. But yeah, anyways, I designed everything out to make sure I could draw it correctly. All right, so back to the page. Friggy is saying this creature feels like an umbral creature, and Ragna immediately protests. That's impossible. That's against planar law. Iskall, of course, being the character that doesn't know anything, that's the everyman character. My excuse for having to explain stuff in the story. Wait, I have to go back to actual fucking page instead of just full screening myself. Here, there we go. Okay, cool. He's like, what does that mean? And Friggy is like, well, to oversimplify it, basically, planar law is the name for the law that governs the flow of life and death in this world. And here, this drawing, this panel is a representation of the universe that the whole story takes place in. So the little planet in the middle with the little universe bubble, that's the planet that the story takes place in. If you look closely, you can see the continent of Arvos and other star systems around it. Obviously, the universe isn't that size; it's bigger than that. It's a metaphorical representation of that universe. But surrounding the universe, you have these elemental planes feeding into the universe, all these different energy types that feed into the living world, and those different planes, those surrounding planes, are also where the shamanic system, the different domains in the shamanic system come from. You have water, ice, air, plasma, heat, and earth, and those are the elemental planes. And in addition to that, at the top and bottom, those big funnel-like shapes, those at the top, that's the astral planes, and the bottom, those are the umbral planes. And there's multiple planes, there's multiple levels of going into the astral and going into the umbral. And life energy is channeled through the astral. You can see at the top, I don't know if you guys can see my mouse. Oh yeah, you can. You can see at the top the energy going into the astral. It goes through the living world and then down through the green part, and then it kind of circles back around, and it's supposed to only go in one direction. So it's like, it would be like necromancy, for example, something coming back from the umbral plane, the plane of, here she says the umbral is a plane of death and dreams, and the astral plane is the plane of light and life. So it's the land of pre-life, it's pure life energy, and then the umbral is where souls that have died go if they aren't clear of certain mental stuff. I'll explain that later. I don't want to get too into it, but it's also the plane of dreams. So it's like when you're asleep, you have different levels of dreaming, and the closer to death you go, the deeper the dream level is. So the umbral plane is not just a plane of death. It's not necessarily hell, even though the deepest level of it is kind of hellish. It's the planes of death and also dreams. So life energy only should go in one direction, but the fact that the umbral creatures are here means it's a perversion of nature, and it's not supposed to be possible. But here Friggy is explaining that the only way she's heard of that natural order being reversed are through strong summoning runes, like shamans who can summon very strong, who had very strong runes, who can summon creatures from different planes, or through something called hex gaze. And I haven't explained what that is yet, but here Ragna says, "Oh, there's improvement rumors," and Friggy answered, "Well, that's Malkenka's line. Malkenka says these things don't exist. Like hex gaze are maybe it's something that could access different planes. Who knows?" And she says, "That's Malkenka wants you to think those things don't exist, but who knows? Anything is possible. We don't know everything about the world." And next, she starts asking Casimir, "Could somebody in Dorvo have been capable of dark magic, or for example casting a strong summoning room or whatever, creating a pathway for these creatures?" And he's like, "Here, this is a flashback with the bodacious shaman lady that apparently some people really like. There's her in full HD, and there's Casimir as a kid eating a frog leg. He's saying, well, we did have a shaman, but I don't think she would do this, but who knows, right? Who knows? Because we don't really know much about the shaman yet. Who knows if this bodacious shaman lady could have been capable of that?" Mm-mm-mm. Oh, I'm so bad. I'm so far behind in chat. Oh God, I apologize. Let's see. Right, right. Also, fun fact: in the guy holding the shaman staff, that's Stanimir. So Stana was the shaman's apprentice, and so he knows. That's another reason Casimir knows a lot about rune casting and shaman stuff for somebody who's not a trained shaman, is because he kind of grew up around it. His brother was a shaman's apprentice, and then his life was saved by Friggy and Ragna, and so he grew up around a bunch of shamans. But yeah, that's sounding me in the background. I feel like I should make that more clear, but you'll see later on in the story, in later flashbacks, it becomes clear that, well, he's a shaman's apprentice and he can actually cast some runes already. So because he was like a teenager, he was training to become a shaman, maybe. But yeah, then Casimir says, "Well, I can't think of anybody else in town. We had a shaman, but I don't know that much about her, other than obviously the fact that she was Donna's teacher." And but remember in chapter 1 when he was fighting that demon, because Casimir has lost a bunch of memories from Dorvo. It's sort of this traumatic amnesia where he doesn't remember a lot about the demon attack. And as the stories progress, every time he encounters a demon, he has a chance of getting some of those memories back. Because now that the demons have resurfaced, especially in chapter 1, as he was killing that demon that they fought, he remembered back in Dorvo there was this house with that very distinctive sigil on the roof, in the roof area right there, and all the demons were coming out of that house. So he's telling Friggy that, "Well, I did remember that." And in the next page, she asks him, "Well, do you remember who lived there?" And he's like, "No," but he says the house was built next to a weird cave system called the pits, and people kind of stayed away from it, but he doesn't remember who lived there. So Friggy's like, "Well, you don't remember anything." So essentially all we know is that these are umbral creatures. We can't progress unless somebody actually goes to Dorvo and investigates and goes back to see what actually happened there. And then she's like, "Okay, I'm going to send word to Malkenka, because those are the professionals. Those are the professional shamans, and they'll be able to go to Dorvo." And then Casimir's like, no. Malkenka is run by a bunch of old weakling bookworms. They're not going to be able to make it to Dorvo and then back before winter, because the time of year that the story takes place is like, even though it's snowing, it's actually fall. It's like late fall. But Arvos is really cold, so it's already snowing a lot. And winter is like deathly. So you do not want to be stuck in the wild in the middle of winter if you don't know what you're doing. So he's like, "No, anyone who's traveling right now, you need to make sure you can get back to civilization by the time deep winter hits." So like a bunch of old bookworms from Alkenka aren't going to be able to manage that. I will go. But also, he's holding his pendant. That's his pendant. Oh, look, it's right here. Cool. Little pendant, story point. He's holding the pendant of Adsila that I established in chapter 2.5, and it's a pendant that he got from his hunting master. And the Adsila sigil, Adsila is the goddess of truth. So it's anytime he holds the pendant, it's one of the gods that he does follow, and he follows the goddess of the hunt and a goddess of the truth. So it's it's sort of him reminding himself he needs to seek the truth on his own instead of relying on other people. And it's high time he went back to Dorvo to figure out what the fuck happened, anyways. Let me get caught up in chat real quick. People are talking about mixing species in chat. My gosh. My gosh. Okay. So I need shamans to fix me? What? What? In what way? Gomezli for 2. Ethan played your jumping jacks clip on repeat. Cool. I don't care about that. Why is that a problem? Really like the panel border at the bottom. Oh, like oh, thank you for the super chat. The shadow thingy. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. That's something I can do for like the flashbacks and stuff. Douglas says that's a cool idea. Do characters get themselves close to death to experience these dreams? Well, I don't know. It could be something that people do. It could be something that people do. But yeah, the umbral planes are planes of the subconscious, but of course there are umbral creatures just like there are astral creatures. Let me see if there's Tim Olson. Hello, what's up? Starred, are there any other comments? Can there be magic that makes interbreeding possible? Not that I know, because it's biological. So unless you did some like weird science experiment that created a creature that was biologically different from other existing species, and that I don't think that would be possible. It would have to be like some test tube experiment. Yeah. JW says, have you considered doing some type of symbol to indicate they are speaking the other language as opposed to putting in translation boxes? For the whole point of developing Nanarsa was to create a sense of immersion. So I'd rather not do that. Me putting the English translations in the boxes for just these pages is already a step more than I was intending. The reason I have the Nanarsa on the page instead of like, if you've read the Fiendish books, hold on. Let me pull up. Chapter 2 is a good example. Is this this is the permanent version. Where is the page where they're speaking to Narsa? Okay, so here you see when Kaz is speaking to Narsa to Ragna here. I don't even have the translations there, but what you do have is a page number. And in the printed books, the Nanarsa translations are in the back of the book. So you flip to the back and there's a glossary with like the page number, and you can look up what they're saying. And I do realize that this is a little bit painful. So my plan for Fiendish 3 is to have a card or like a little booklet of the Nanarsa, so you can read it and have like the card next to it instead of having to flip to the back of the book, right? But that's hard to do digitally. So in the digital version, I do have the English translation right next to the Nanarsa. But like the whole point of having the Nanarsa on there was for the reader to feel like this really is a different world. This is a different language, and I don't understand what they're saying. I had to go through a different step, because it's not like they're not just speaking English. So it's an extra step, and it's something that I committed to for the sake of making the world feel real. So I don't think I'll just like have them speak in English and just put little brackets around it. That's not enough. Like I wanted to really feel like a different language. Yeah. But so my apologies. Let's see. I think I got to that. Is there a place in your comic you would love to visit? Probably Falfriend. I think Falfriend is pretty cool. Pretty cool. I love to go there and check it out. All right, back. Fair enough. Yeah. It's I will try to make it as easy as possible for the reader, while also meeting in the middle with how I wanted the world to feel lived in and believable. Okay, continuing. I think this approach is a good compromise. Yeah. So like on the page, it'll still be in Anarsa, but I'll have a free booklet that comes with the book, and you won't have to like just flip back and forth all the time. I hope that'll make things easier. Okay. I'm glad you think that language is a neat idea. I look back at my early notes and sketches for Fiendish, and the language is one of the first thing I started developing. So this has been a long time in the works. Uh, okay. Oh, hold on. Wait. Hold on. 1 second. I'll be right back. Ah! Now my camera's all fucked up. Great. Sorry, I had to go take care of something. Okay, all right, back. J.W. Learning says, "Can you speak your own language?" No, I can't. That's what the dictionary is for. I don't. I make up the language, and like when I translate it, I go through the dictionary and I look at the syntax is Chinese, so I say the lines in Chinese first, and then I go through the dictionary and pick out which words are that I need, and then I translate it using the dictionary. So no, I don't actually speak language. I just build the vocabulary and the grammar. I know some basic words just off the top of my head, but just because I built the language doesn't mean I speak it. Like it's a different thing to actually learn a language functionally, right? Alex VRV says about as well as Tolkien can read Numenorian. Yeah, didn't Tolkien tell people like, why are you learning to speak my languages? It's a fantasy language. It's not meant for like real functional speech. No, right. I gotta learn it. The Tarzan language. I didn't know that was a thing. We need to know how to pronounce the words. I do know how to pronounce the words. So, when I do the translations, I say it out loud to get a feel for whether it sounds right. And as I'm building the grammar and the words, I speak the words out loud to get a feeling for the language because it's very important to me that it feels again like a real language. So I do know how to pronounce it. There's even a pronunciation guide in the dictionary on the website. So I'm pretty specific about how it sounds, but yeah, um, it's not it's not something that I speak off the top of my head. Wait, what did you realize you don't think there's a use to it? The usage is for immersion in the comic. That's the usage. It's not applicable to real life, right? If someone wants to learn it, that would be really cool. But I, I'm not really expecting it. Okay, back to the pages because I have like 30 minutes left before a creative block, and I can totally get through all these pages. Okay. So, Casimir is telling Friggy that I will go back to Dorvo. Nobody else can do it. I should be the one to go back because he's the sole survivor of this demon attack and he should finally be going home. And then Yomi's like, wait, I thought nobody could find Dorvo because remember in chapter 2, Iskall was telling Yomi that the town had nobody's been able to find it. It's been all this weird stuff. Like Casimir's the only person who seemed to have escaped, and then the town's just been wiped off the face of the earth. And then Kaz is like, Octo and I both tried to go back and we failed. But then Friggy jumps in and says the whole town must have been somehow warded, but the fact that the demons are now free means it must be accessible again. So whatever has been warding the town off must have broken down. So you should be able to find the town if you go back now. And then Ragnar's like, oh, great, this is perfect. I need something to research. And this is really weird. I've always wanted to go back to your hometown. She doesn't say all this, but it's implied. And she's like, this is great material for my thesis paper, which she's been struggling to write, right? So she's like, I'll get to packing. I'll come along. And the cousin's like, no, the fuck you're not. I don't need you nagging me for weeks on end. Stay here with Friggy and Iskall. And then she's like, oh no, you're gonna die in the wilds without me, facing a bunch of demons. No, I'm coming along. You're the one kidding yourself. And then of course it jumps to Iskall being like, wait, what do you mean? I'm staying here with Friggy and Iskall? I'm not coming along? What? And then Casimir's like, of course not. I said I'd bring you to Thalfran. I didn't say I'm bringing you to Dorvo. I didn't, he said that what his specific words, I didn't say I would bring you frolicking with demons. Very Casimir line. And then Iskall starts arguing like, oh no, you can't just leave me. I'm from Dorvo too. I want to go. And the Cos is like, you're a child. You're going to do as you're told. I don't have time to wipe your ass. Just stay in the Thalfrin. And then Isko's really mad about that because he wants to come along. And then he's like, but you're taking Yomi. And Kaz is like, yeah, and I'm going to feed her to the demons the minute she gets in my way. Do you want the same deal? Because I'll give it to you. And a little harsh, a little harsh. And Isko's kind of hurt by that, so he runs off. And Freaky's not very happy with Kaz, but Kaz is like, he'll get over it. He'll get over it. It'll be fine. Well, Isko runs off crying. Tim Wilson says that was a burn. Yeah, Kaz is a bit of a dick, and he needs to work on that. I don't know. Much double. I don't even know how to. That's too much modern wordisms. Run away, Yomi. Save yourself. Funny enough, she's kind of thinking of that at this point. Can your demons place words of their own? Are the sort of shamanic demons? We will see. Well, I think that would be revealing a bit too much if I answered that. So we will see, right? We'll see. Colin says, will Friggy's thesis paper ever be published so we can read it? Oh my god. If I had like 5 years on my hand to write a real thesis paper that sound like a real smart person wrote it and translate the whole thing to Nanarsa, then sure. But as of right now, that's not in my plans. Even just Ragna's demon notes is gonna be so much work because you saw the dialogue so far in this preview. That took me like basically a whole day and staying up all night to do the translation because it's really hard. It's developing the language, and it's not just like, and then lettering it. It's not just taking the words and copying. It's not like I just take an English sentence and replace the words, right? The structure is different. So anyways, why do I make my life difficult for myself? Somebody tell me, why do I do this? I don't even know why I do this. Anyway, so Kaz is being a bit of a dick. So I do know how to pronounce in Nanarsa, and if you look in the back of the chapters, for example, in the back of chapter 2, I don't just have the translations in the glossary, I have the pronunciation. So in these, you do get the pronunciation in the actual glossary. I don't have it on the page because it would be like too many extra little annotations on the side, right? But I do have the actual translations. What is this line? I need to look up my notes to show you guys what that line would be. Where the fuck are those notes? So Casimir saying he'll get over it is Agnel ich Nuktoluven. Agnel ich Oktoluven. And what that actually means is it's not just he will get over it. So as I've said, I say the lines in Chinese syntax first, and then I translate it. So what I was thinking, naturalistically speaking, somebody in Chinese would say, oh, they just need to vent and then they'll get over it, right? So in my head, the words I was thinking was 气一下就没事了, which is just vent a bit and then he'll be fine. So Agnel, Agn is like venting. It's the word for vent, like a physical vent, but also the word for somebody venting their emotions. El is future tense. If there's a word that ends with el, that's a future tense. So Nanarsa does have tense. It's not really a gender language, but it does have tense. So Agnel means he will vent. Icht is and nuk toluven. Nuk is like a negative term. So nuka, nuk, or nur in front of a word makes it a negative. And just like when characters say no, it's nuka or anuka. That's no. So if to make something a negative, it's you just add that in front of a word. And toluven means you will be fine. So he's basically just saying, well, he's going to go vent, he'll run off and cry, and then he'll be fine. So he's being kind of a cold asshole. But that's how Casimir is, right? So that's how much work goes in that. Stop overthinking. No, I refuse. I refuse to stop over. Stop overthinking it. I must make this as difficult as possible for myself. And then he just walks off like, I'm going to bed. But secretly, of course, he does care about Iskall, and he feels kind of bad. even immediately after being a dick to Yuskel. So you see, Nina is like his it's his pet, but it's also the like the softening point for him. She's there to soften him up a bit and to express certain emotions that he's bad at expressing, of course. So I have her, she's showing concern and she's kind of sitting there like, what do I do? Little question mark. What do I do, Casimir Master? Iskil ran off. And then he just nods to her and she understands and she runs off to go find Iskil and make sure he's okay. So she's running off and Freaky's like, well, at least somebody gives a shit about the kid. And then here's this. I wanted this peaceful couple of pages, this transition from this tense scene in Thalfren where the characters are pissed off at each other to a more relaxing, natural surrounding. And I let myself take the time with these 3 panels to show Nina running through the forest and then finding Iskil. And I think having these moments are really important because when you're drawing a comic, it's just like structuring a movie. It's not just about plot point, plot point, plot point. The timing is important, and letting the story breathe at certain points where it needs to breathe is important because you don't want the reader to feel mentally exhausted from reading, especially for a story like Fiendish, where there is a lot of world building. There is a lot of details in the dialogue that I want people to remember and pay attention to. It's not really a light read. Having points where people can just sit back and relax, even for like half a page like this, is very important. So my intention was I'll take the time, draw some beautiful backgrounds, and let everybody relax for a couple of panels. Yeah, I think I did a short mentioning that, but that kind of stuff does matter when you're making a comic. I think manga tends to do that very well, so I learned that from manga. Um, you need to know when to compress and when to decompress. Aviator says, therapy tiger. Yes, yes. Overthinking got you this far, no turning back now. Nope. I will continue to overthink. Alex VRB posted a link for Wrecked. Yes, that's Down Go Solo's book, so everybody go check that out. I have a cover for that book as well, so go back that right now. It's another fantasy book. Alex VRB says Ragna is right. He can't make it without her. She is. Right now, she is the strongest member of the team. Like, she's a very strong caster. I mean, Casimir is a very competent hunter, but I mean, look at chapter 1. He was having trouble against just one of the demons, and he had help in defeating it. Like he's not a magic user. He's not massively powerful. He doesn't have any superpowers. The only thing he has on his side are the demons don't burn him. But if it's against like a normal animal, he'd be fine. He's a very strong hunter. But these are weird demon creatures, and he does need Ragna's help. So she's actually completely right. Do you watch those conlang channels to help build the language? No, but I watch there's this channel called Jackson Crawford. He's like this it's funny because he's like this cowboy looking guy, but he talks about Old Norse language. He speaks Old Norse. He's translated like the Havamal and stuff. So I've been watching his channel for years, and it's really fascinating. He talks about the Old Norse culture and all these sagas. So that was a big part of me building the language, and a few other channels as well, not specifically conlang channels, but linguistic channels. Yeah, that my YouTube is like it's like murder mysteries, language channels, and like I don't know, Asmongold. That's my YouTube history. JW says, nice kitty. Yes, Nina is the best. Hey, Lieutenant Hughes. What's up? And thank you for the link there. Thank you. Can you place a ward on anything? Can you ward a corpse? Yes, you can ward a corpse. You can basically ward anything except like maybe moving water, because you do need to place the rune into a surface. You kind of like mark it on the surface of something, but you can ward a person, you can ward a corpse, you can ward rocks, places, objects, weapons, anything that you can put a mark on, you can ward it off. Let's see. Caught up. Okay. We all watch as yeah, everybody does, even if they say they don't. Hmm. Building a language is good experience for movies too. Yeah, I mean, if A Girl Can Dream, if Fiendish does ever get adapted to a an audio format, ow, just kicked my table, then having the language ready to go would be great. I'm sure that would help a lot. It's like well, for TV shows like Game of Thrones, they built Dothraki and um they built Old Valyrian, right? So my thought process is if that's how committed these other creators are to their works, why shouldn't I be? Yeah. That there you go. That's my reasoning there. All right, next page. We're almost done. We're almost done. We can do this. We can do this. We have 10 minutes. Might go a little bit over, but it's fine. It's fine. I'll do my best. Okay. So here, Nina's just sitting next to Easkell, being his therapy cat. And Easkell's like, I don't get it. Casimir's his girlfriend is back, so now he doesn't want me around anymore. He's just pissed off that basically Kaz treats him like a baby, even though he feels like he's learned a lot and he feels like he's stronger than Kaz treats him, um, which I think is a understandable, normal emotion for a 13-year-old, especially a 13-year-old boy. He doesn't want to be treated like a baby. He's not a little child. He can survive pretty well even on his own, and he's frustrated that Kaz is like, you're just useless. You're gonna get in my way. And he's like, well, that's kind of fucking insulting. And he's telling Nina, I've always had Casimir's back, even when they were fighting the demon in chapter 1. He had Casimir's back, even though Kaz is a stronger fighter. So he feels insulted. And he's like, am I the child or is he? So anyways, he's just venting and then getting everything out. And then he's like, oh, sorry, Nina, let's just head back, whatever. Okay, so the next page. We cut back to Thalfrin as Casimir has head off to bed. Ragnar's not there anymore. Frigi's heading off, and she tells the dev slave who's been in the background. You saw when we first got into Thalfrin in like page 3. You saw him in the background cleaning up and washing things. So Thalfrin does have this old dev. His name is Erisu, and he's the servant. He takes care of all the housework and stuff, and does all the chores so Frigi can do shamany things. And Frigi is telling Erisu, just tidy up the dinnerware, leave the rest for tomorrow. And he's like, yes, master. And as he is tidying up, Yomi starts to help him, and he's telling her, you don't have to help me. This is my work. And what I try to do with his dialogue, if you read his dialogue, I try to have him speak in a very detached way. Like I wanted him to speak in a way that didn't sound normal, because if someone's been raised and has lived their whole life to be a servant, you would speak in a way that reflected you have no self, you have no opinions, you as an entity don't matter, you're here to be a tool for other people. And that's how he's trained, and honestly that's how he's comfortable existing. Like that's just the reality of it. Some people, if that's all they know, that's all they know. So his comfort level is that I don't matter, I'm just doing my job, being a servant, and this is a simple life for me. And maybe this will be controversial for some people, but I'm just being realistic about the psychology, and committing to the world building. And so she's helping Erisu, and as she's tidying up, she asks him, excuse me, but is Miss Frigi a kind master? And then Erisu's answer is, he refers to himself as Erisu. He doesn't, I don't know if that really gets across the feeling I wanted to, but you know, in Game of Thrones, when there were this ethnicity of people that would always say this one, and a man and a girl. It was Jaqen Hagar, who wherever he was from, he would always speak like that. And I was like, that was really interesting. But I can't just rip off what they do. I wish I could just do something similar. But if Erisu could just speak like this one will obey, this one will clean, that would be kind of perfect. But, obviously I can't just do the same thing as Game of Thrones. So the way he speaks is he just refers himself as Erasu, and he always refers to Friggy as master, and he has this really formal way of talking about other people, and he avoids saying his opinions. So here he says, Erasu has served master all of Erasu's life, just as mother served. Why does one ask? And he tends to not say you, he'll say, why does one ask? One does not need to help me. Stuff like that. So it's in the specific phrasing. And Yomi responds by saying, well, I don't know who else to ask. I think I made a mistake. Maybe I should stick to what I know, which is serving and cleaning, and all this death and all the demons. It's a lot. It's she's in over her head. And even at the end of chapter 2, she, if you remember the last few pages, in her narration, while they're walking away from this bandit fight, she's thinking, I don't know if I'm ready for this. This is a lot. This is a lot of death. This is really scary. She's just a normal girl. She's a teenager, and she's not ready for some dangerous adventure in the woods against demons. She only came along because she didn't want to be a bed slave, and she was taking a risk by running away with Kaz and Iskall. So now that they're in Thalfrin, this safe environment, she's tempted to just stay here and live a simple life, as another slave that works alongside Erasu, because at least she'll be safe and at least it will be a peaceful life, right? Yeah. Uh, it's the Anakin syndrome? Which one's the Anakin syndrome? Hello, Michael Rushbrook is here. Hi, what's up? Yo, 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 yo. Hail. Oh, Miss Freaky. Yes, Miss Freaky. Khajiit in Skyrim. I don't know who that is, but I'm sure this is not like a novel original idea. There are other characters. Dobby, yeah, Dobby's a good example. There are characters who speak like that. Yeah, Dobby refers to himself as Dobby, right? So there you go. Does she keep a slave, or is that just formal for a servant? No, she keeps a slave. It's normal in their society. So Erasu says here, mother served master as well. So it's just a hereditary thing. Like his mother was the servant or the slave for the previous owner of Thalfrin. So that's just how he was born into this, and Friggy kind of inherited him from her ancestors, from her parents, and from her family. So she doesn't mistreat him or anything, but he is still a slave. That's just how the world is. And frankly, how a lot of pre-modern societies are. You have to be realistic about these things. And then so as Yomi is saying, I feel like I'm in over my head. I'm really scared. I feel like I just want to be safe right now. And then Erasu kind of breaks his formal speech and he says, Yomi, why is a young girl like yourself even considering facing such dangers? The humans, they don't own you. If they don't own you, you don't need to follow. So he's telling her, you don't need to follow Casimir and Iskall on this journey. Just ask Master Friggy and you can live a simple, quiet life here. So he's presenting this other option. Why are you even getting worked up about this dangerous journey? You could stay here. I'm sure Friggy would love for you to stay. So that was a little, I wanted Yomi's character arc to have some conflict here. I felt like realistically speaking, she would be scared. So I wanted to portray that. Instead of having her just be, yeah, I'm so brave. I'm a 15-year-old girl, but I'm not afraid of going on a journey to fight demons in the woods. I'm a giant Mary Sue, and I'm going to throw away everything I've known, completely out of my comfort zone, against everything I was raised by, and be some like rogue fighting in the woods killing demons. No, that's not realistic. So think about yourself in her shoes. You would feel like this. So I wanted to present this scene as a point of realism. Okay, we're on the last page. We can do this. We have 3 minutes. Okay. Tim Olson says a choice between the easy path or a dangerous path. Yes, that's the thing. I understand that subjects like slavery obviously are controversial. Obviously, it's something that has to be handled with tact. But at the same time, You have to be real. I want to be realistic to the world and the characters. And her choice right now is she her path can't be easy. She has to make the choice to take the hard path. And for that to happen, a path that seems easy has to present itself in the moment. Okay, so venture out or hide behind what you know. Exactly. All right, here's the last page. We cut back to Iskall as he's walking back to Thalfren with Nina. And as they're walking, they see this tree that's fallen over on the ground. And it has this rune on it. And, we've established the trees that have the warding runes. And he sees that it's fallen over. And not only has it fallen over, but it's gotten scuffed. There's a demon burn mark on it. So the ward has been destroyed. And next to it in the dirt, you see these two large two-toe footprints that are just like the demons from chapter 1. And then he turns around and there's a demon. So the ward has broken and there's one demon that is now inside of the safe area of Thalfren. So now the forest is no longer safe and Iskall is, well, he's not all alone. He has Nina, but Nina is just a wee little fluffy Frostfang, and they don't have Casimir, they don't have weapons. They're about to be attacked by this demon. And that's where the preview ends. Dun dun dun. Look at this awesome graphic that I made. Let's back the campaign now. That's right. And that's what you should do. Go back the campaign and sign up for the Kickstarter. That will be launching soon. Beautiful. Look at that. I'm so proud of this graphic. That looks awesome, right? That's going to be on the Kickstarter. Okay. I only got a few minutes. I need to set up the redirect, but right. There you go. I got through it. I actually got through the preview. Let me do this. Good cliffhanger. Yeah. Oh my God. If you thought that preview was a lot of reveals, you don't know what's coming. There's so much more. I'm not just talking about my own book. I was thinking of having even larger preview, but I was advised that that's a bad idea. After the book prints, I might expand the preview so there's a larger free section on Global Comics, but then the rest of the book will still be, you have to pay to read it because I can't give the whole thing away for free. But there's so many reveals in this book and a lot happens because Fiendish 1, 2, and 2.5, that was the runway. I needed to establish the basis for the characters and the world, but now I have everything set in stone. So a lot really happens, and this is only the first part of probably 3 or 4 large plot point reveals in the story. And of course, I've shown you guys a glimpse of the mystery villain. You can see him in the cover on the right. He's a character that we'll be learning more about later on in the book. So there's going to be a reveal of who he is. So hopefully that'll all be really exciting. I'm really excited to show you. And yeah, I'm glad I could go over this preview, and I hope you guys liked it. Roche says the book is so good. I'm glad you liked it. Alex Jeremy says this preview is more than adequate, and it was the ideal stopping point to entice readers. Oh, I'm glad you think so. Yeah, it's doing really well in Global Comics. So, the link is in the description. Let me go all the way back. Oh wait, look, nope, not that. Never mind. I went back way too far. There. I'm just gonna post a link to Fiendish on Global Comics. I would appreciate a like and a follow, by the way, on Global Comics. So look, there's even a crowdfunding banner. This website is awesome. But yeah, if you could give the series a like and a follow. Look, the numbering is all off because of 2.5. But if you can give that a like and a follow, I'd much appreciate it. Okay. I'm going to raid into the Creative Block Snugs. You're here just at the ending. Yes, I apologize. I'm sorry. I am wrapping up the show right now because Creative Block is starting, but you can always replay this stream so that you can see the preview. I think I go through the preview, but then I think I added some commentary that'll be very interesting for you if you want to get a little feel for the series and what is to come. So replay the stream. And yeah, I'll go see you guys in Creative Block. I need to set the raid. Oh my god. Let me play the trailer And while I set up the raid, so let's watch the trailer for a couple minutes. All right. Okay, so the redirect should be set up and saved. All right. Thank you guys for joining me today. Again, go sign up for Fiendish on Kickstarter, back the Indiegogo campaign, and I'll see you guys over on Creative Block. Bye-bye.